thing really quick. Backstage, Dan, you said that we follow each other on Twitter, and right when I was listening to Introduced, when you asked backstage, when you said that, I didn't put together that it was you, and so now I was worried that you thought it was an accidental follow, but it was a very intentional follow. And
I really appreciate that.
So I feel like I had to clear my head of that. I would have been distracted and I wouldn't be able to crush you. But so, no, it was.
Thank you.
Okay. I've had that happen sometimes where I meet someone and I say I follow them, and then I just see that it was just no recognition, and it feels really terrible because you thought up until that point that you're friends. In your mind, you've been friends, so we're good. Okay. Sometimes I make these really complicated, my arguments, and I think I have a really straightforward one this time. Okay, so this works. This is soybean. Oh, come on. I know. So soybean is a 16-year-old, one-eyed, deaf Boston Terrier. On December 15th, 2019, Soybean went missing. He was in his owner's car, and it was in LA, they parked in a little mini market parking lot. They ran inside to pick up a pizza that was ready for them. They came back, and he'd been stolen from their car. This deaf, one-eyed dog, senior citizen dog. And I was living in LA, and I saw the posters, and I became and I had a dog, and I became consumed with the search for soybean. There were posters everywhere. They would do these meetups where you would go and you would get the posters, and you could and they'd give you the tape, and I would go to the meetups, and I would get the posters, and I would I plastered LA. I tried to everywhere I went, all I thought about. I would try to go to more interesting places just to have a reason to put a poster up somewhere else in a different part of LA. And he was gone, so he went missing on December 15th every day. They would post, we're still looking. I would post, I didn't know these people. I never met Soybean. And I was posting all the time, and I think my friends thought they were worried about me because it looked like Soybean wasn't going to be found. He was taken from a car. There was no clues. There were no sightings. A lot of times when these dogs go missing, there's sightings. But he was with a thief. It was so sad feeling. And I kept posting and being like, he's going to find Soybean. They're going to find Soybean. They're going to find Soybean. I woke up one morning to news that Soybean had been found. This family found him. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So this man was coming home from work, and he saw something in an alley. He was stolen in Silver Lake. This was in South Central where this man lived. He's miles and miles away. No posters up probably. And he saw a little thing moving in an alley, and it was an emaciated soybean. And he took him home. He was so dirty that they didn't even realize at first that he had a collar with a number on it, because it was so buried in the grime. And there was as you saw in the poster before, there was a $5,000 reward. They called the number. Soybean's owners came. This family refused the reward money. Said, "Why would we take the reward? We're just giving back your dog." Then these people, Soybean's owners, set up a GoFundMe. People could donate. I donated. Everyone donated. This girl, the daughter, was able to use the money to go into her college fund. It was a wonderful story. That Soybean was found on January 1st, 2020. Okay, so New Year's Day is when I woke up to this news. And there was a lot of these kind of comments on the post about Soybean being found. "We love you, so happy your family is back together. It's going to be an amazing 2020. This bodes well for 2020, brought tears to my eyes. This alone makes 2020 the best year ever, no matter what happens from here forward." So, welcome home, Soybean. Soybean was finally home with his people, who he hoped to never be separated from again. soybean went missing, soybean was found, global pandemic. Soybean may have overcorrected. But, this is what could guarantee that he was never going to get separated again from the people who loved him. Which is what brings me to sweats, right? Like, soybean went missing, global pandemic, sweats. Sweats moment had come. It was here. So, March 2020, off came all the tailored clothing, anything that constricted, confined, tugged, poked, all that was set on fire. I mean, we were all there. I don't need to explain this part right. We understand, we all remember what it felt like on like the 6th day when we woke up in the same clothes that we had fallen asleep with the night before, and then spent the entire day in them again, and then wore them to sleep, and then woke up again. We know the feeling of sweats having their time. There was this episode of Mad Men where Peggy asked Dawn for a raise, and then says, and he won't give it to her, and she says, "What if this is my moment?" And I'm like, no, what if this is my time? And I can't remember if it was her time because I tried to watch Mad Men during the pandemic, and I couldn't finish it because I couldn't keep a grasp on time at all. All I know is that the time had come for sweats. That's what we all live through. Thanks to soybean. Now, I really feel that, and I also I made sure to dress, I wanted to walk the walk. I really feel like sweats that happened in the pandemic were the rest that we needed. It was the care that we thought we didn't deserve. It was the one pure thing that we got out of that time. Like we didn't understand how much we needed sweats until they became the thing that we used more than anything else in our house. Like I feel like clothes quickly became like books. They were this thing that we once engaged in the past, and then we kind of built a little museum to them in our apartments. And we looked at them and had this remembrance of the time from before, but that was it. And I don't have any way to prove this part, and unlike everything I just said, which is very provable. But I like to imagine Soybean approved of the shift to sweats. I think he was a fan of sweats. He essentially was a pair of sweatpants. And I think he'd seen them in movies. I think when you're a deaf, one-eyed dog, you watch movies a little differently. Like when he watched Heaven Can Wait, I think he saw it as a tragic story of a guy who just wanted to be wearing sweatpants all the time, and he kept being ripped from heaven to have to engage with the world again. This is all he wanted. This is heaven was kind of like a dog park. And then I think when he saw Rocky, that was clearly this man running from people beating him up. And he just had to get away from them, all this violence that was happening in his cozy sweatpants. And then, of course, the man who saved him was ahead of his time. You can't forget this here. Okay. So, Soybean died on December 29, 2020, okay? Almost to the day that he was found. So he got his last year with his people. Was it worth it, 2020? We can all individually decide that. But just remember, Soybean got the last year of his life, never separated from the people who loved him. And maybe that wouldn't have happened if. And so, he also, the first COVID vaccine was administered on December 8th, 2020. He waited I think Soybean waited till there was a new symbol of hope for the next year before leaving us. And then what happened once all these people, more people started to get the vaccine, besides some people not getting it? As the world gradually became safer, closer to the world we had known before, did people rush out to put on their confining dresses and their suits? No, of course they fucking didn't. No one wants to go back to that. We're not doing this argument in a vacuum. We've seen it play out. We see how people have not returned to that way. I mean, I find I know you're my teammate, but even this I find insane. And so it took everything I had to even put this on today. And I know everyone here secretly, a part of them wishes they were in sweatpants right now. So we can't have it all been for nothing. There's already been enough of that. Our unemployment's gone back to the same amount it was before. We have rising rent prices. There's inflation everywhere. No one learned anything from this. So sweats are all we have. Soybean wants us to rest. Soybean wants us to take care of ourselves. And I only wish he'd lived long enough to see the greatest sweats moment yet. Simone Biles, watching from the sidelines as she took care of herself and knew her own strength in a sweatsuit.